So how will we get the derivative of the inverse of secant of x, all right? How do we get this? Basically, the first thing to do here is, all right, if we are faced with a problem where you have, let's say, y equals secant inverse of x, all right, the first thing to do here is to rewrite this in something that we're more familiar with. In this case, this is going to be, all right, if we put secant on both sides, we're gonna end up with secant of y equals x, all right? And this is better because now we can differentiate secant of y, all right? And if we differentiate with respect to x, we differentiate secant of y, and on the other side we differentiate x with respect to x as well, all right? Then we're going to end up with basically secant of y tan y, that is the derivative of secant of y, equals 1, all right? And this is going to be dy dx as well, all right, since we're doing implicit differentiation, all right? And since we want our dy dx to stand by itself on one side of the equal sign, all right, we're going to end up with dy dx. We're going to divide both sides by secant y, tan y. So we're going to end up with dy dx equals 1 over secant of y, tan y, all right? And then basically we cannot call this our answer because we want something in terms of x since we're deriving with respect to x, but this is in terms of y. So from here we'll have to basically use a trig identity, and the identity we're going to use is 1 plus tan squared y equals secant squared y, all right? And if we solve for tan y, this will be equal to the square root of secant squared y minus 1, all right? And basically from here, all right, we're basically going to take this and inject this back into this equation, substitute it back, and basically dy dx will be equal to 1 over secant of y, right, square root of secant squared of y minus 1, all right? And from the beginning of the equation, we already know that secant of y equals x. So basically here, all right, basically end up with dy dx equals 1 over x for secant of y square root of x squared minus 1, all right? The interesting thing here is that once we start getting involved with square roots, and in every trig function it has its basically, we know through research that the slope of the inverse of secant of x is always positive. So in this case, we want this to always be positive, all right? And knowing that since we're dealing with real numbers here, the square root of anything in here is going to be positive, but we don't know if, since we want to guarantee that this is going to be positive as well, right? Our answer will be equals to 1 over the magnitude of x square root x squared minus 1, all right? And that is our answer. And basically, if you're given any problem and you want to solve for the inverse of secant, for the derivative of the inverse of secant of something, all right, your general formula will basically be, if you're deriving with respect to x, all right, let's say secant inverse of a, all right, that will be a prime, and that is the derivative of a divided by the magnitude of this a square root a squared minus 1, and that is your general form. Thank you.